Anthony Joshua calls Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder a B.I., but he ducked him. We're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang. Please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, speaking of Patreon, I revamped it, did a major overhaul. We back up and running. I'm going to put content on there. I've been putting content on there. You get some early accesses, and there's different tier systems, different perks. Head over there to become part of the Patreon family for different content, because I'm moving some of the content that would normally be found over here, and we're moving over to Patreon and to the channel members. You can join channel members by hitting the join button down below. Now, also, get the ESPN Plus bundle. It includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, Disney Plus, all three apps for $12.99 a month. This might be a perfect time for that since we are on lockdown and quarantines, relegated to staying within our living quarters. And if you want some more content, ESPN Plus has a ton of docuseries, documentaries, 30 for 30s, details, and this will tide you over until we get back to live sports. Disney Plus, they got a ton of stuff as well, and Hulu if you like TV shows and whatnot. Click on that link. It does support the channel in a phenomenal way. So appreciate you guys. Let's get into it. Now, DAZN posted this and I seen it. Anthony Joshua called Wilder a B.I.T.C.H. A B.I. And I want to talk about the quote and give my thoughts. Anthony Joshua, he says, quote, "For sure, I think me and Deontay Wilder are cut from a different cloth. He's what we call, well, it begins with the B and ends with a H." And it says Anthony Joshua via boxing with Chris Mannix. Now, this is funny from Anthony Joshua to call Wilder a B.I., because at the end of the day, he's the one that avoided Wilder. He waited for another countryman in Tyson Fury to beat Wilder before he got Brody and, you know, is now saying these things. Wilder was on his line, you know, for several years, and I think it peaked in 2018. He was really pressing for the fight. The fight, you know, from Wilder's side looked like it came close. They were really pressing for the fight. They were agreeing to low money, which Wilder has since surpassed. You know, they were saying Wilder was worth $12.5 million, you know, flat fee, no pay-per-view, $15 million, $17 million, you know, right around there. Wilder has already done better numbers, actually not getting the Joshua fight and doing his own thing, betting on himself, as he stated, and later fighting Luis Ortiz in a rematch, fighting Fury that year in the first fight, fighting Fury in the rematch, of course. And even the Dominic Brazil fight was lucrative because Wilder had just had a meeting with John Skipper and DAZN, and they were offering him big money at the time, $100 million for 3 fights or whatnot. And Showtime, they had to, since Wilder was so sought after, they had to not match it, but they had to give him a pretty penny and, you know, tap into the bank to appease him, since he was already getting offers like that from elsewhere. So Wilder has done well for himself financially, especially in the last couple years. He has a very bankable, lucrative fight with Tyson Fury. Obviously is postponed currently for the pandemic. We don't know when it's going to happen, because we don't know when the pandemic crisis and lockdown will end. Some states are talking about, I don't know, you know, you have to ask Trump, but some people are saying that they're going to relieve the limits in certain states, but that doesn't guarantee that the economy will be great, and that doesn't guarantee that people will start spending again and the money will resurface in the economy, because some people will still be fearful. Some people have already lost their jobs, they're on unemployment, etc. So back to Joshua, his comments are very strangely funny, that he's saying all this stuff after Wilder takes a loss. He just did an interview with Sky Sports. I made a video about it, and Anthony Joshua was saying that, oh, we knew Wilder only had one hand and he's a right-handed fighter. He relied so much on the right hand, and no one taught him how to box off the back foot and this, that, and the third. But the funny thing is, why is Joshua just now coming to the plate with all these things and reveling in the fact that your countryman, another person not named Anthony Joshua, is the one to claim Wilder's scalp and get that O off of his resume, off his record? That to me, that is sorry, that is lame, because Anthony Joshua was the one for the longest that people wanted to see fight Deontay Wilder. It was not Fury, but Joshua who was being advised by fans to step up to the plate. So it's just ironic that after he's been beaten and, some people even say exposed or, this and that Joshua, who didn't do it, has so much to say, and he's calling him the B word. But you in 2018 and before, instead of fighting Joseph Parker, instead of fighting Alexander Povetkin, and it was supposed to be Kubrat Pulev a couple years ago and Carlos Takam, that could have been Joshua opposite Wilder. But we now know for a fact that Team Joshua wanted no smoke. I've known this for a while, and you see what happened to old media. They tried to compete with us in regards to this particular topic, but they were clearly no match, because it's very apparent. You've seen since that point the games that Eddie Hearn and Team Joshua continue to play. Joshua seems to become very vocal when it's the most inopportune times. When Wilder's scheduled to fight Fury, and that's already a done deal, now you hear Joshua giving his commentary, and it's almost laughable that Joshua's PR people or his team or Rematch Room or whatever have allowed Joshua's team to constantly be on the record and make themselves look like this for so long. In fact, in America, and I would even venture to say the UK, but definitely in America, Joshua's name has been very quiet. So maybe he's doing this to jog up some interest. I literally have not heard anybody really talking about Anthony Joshua. He's just been kind of in his own world and stuff like that. And I think that's the culmination of two things mainly. Wilder smoked him out, and that was a detrimental blow to Joshua's platform and to his brand. And then the other issue was the Ruiz pair of fights. Even the victory, Joshua looked beatable. Joshua looked bewildered. He looked like he wanted no parts of any exchanges, even though Ruiz was sloppy shape, slow, looked sluggish, wasn't really letting his hands go for 12 rounds, wasn't stringing together combinations, later would apologize at the post-fight press conference. Yet and still, Joshua never stepped on the gas, and from the outside looking in, he was in there with the dead man, a man who, failed himself long before the first bell, and that was Andy Ruiz. He chose to eat empanadas and tortas and cheeseburgers, pizza and all this stuff. And he failed himself before the fight happened, not listening to his dad, not listening to his team, not listening to his trainer, and giving in to those vices and guilty pleasures, which in his case was probably food and probably drank and alcohol, So Joshua didn't look good in last year at all. And I mean, I don't have to spend too much time about it, but Joshua versus Ruiz won. It was horrendous. He got dropped 4 times and quit. So it's funny that the person who got dropped 4 times and quit is calling a fighter he did not fight, even for $50 million and 50% of the back end money, and who didn't quit, to so much to a point that Deontay Wilder was, reportedly considering firing his team for throwing in the towel because he didn't want to go out like that. That can't be the same said with Joshua, because Joshua, after Ruiz beat him, he almost looked relieved. And I went on record immediately after the fight. You could check that old video from June of last year and hear me say that. Joshua looked relieved, like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. But before that, he looked all wide-eyed and, like the fighting in America and the whole setup, he just looked ill-prepared, like something, he was spooked or whatever. Wilder, I would say, he also looked in the Fury rematch, he looked a little bit spooked, or he said it himself, I made a video about it, he said he was a zombie. Whatever was wrong with him, he looked like something, he didn't look, Joshua looked to me shook and scared. Wilder looked like almost grumpy and like he just woke up, like groggy. So it was really weird performance from both of them in those particular fights. But the thing you could say for Wilder is he, with no legs and something clearly wrong with him or off, and it wasn't his night and it wasn't going his way with Tyson Fury. One, he was in there with the guy who outweighed him 40 to 60 pounds and had a good game plan and is an elite boxer, right, in Tyson Fury. So there's no shame losing to that. Tyson Fury knew Wilder had threatening power, got the right people on his team, had a crazy game plan. Plus there's some things that look above and beyond, like illegal tactics and glove gating and stuff, that we have to consider for that fight as well, and the first fight. But anyway, Tyson Fury knew what he was getting into with Wilder. He knew he was a threat, and he had to switch up some things. So there's no shame losing to someone who also beat Klitschko. Andy Ruiz, that was his first title win. He lost. I thought he really should have won Joseph Parker fight, but they didn't give it to him, and he was an underdog coming in with 5-week camp, and Joshua in that fight looked worse. So it's like, how's Joshua going to call anybody names like Wilder when Wilder at least wanted to go out on his shield? It was his team that took that away from him, and I'm not even arguing the decision. I'm just saying Wilder, there was no quit in him. He went out like a warrior on his behalf. Joshua, I can't say the same. So it's weird that Joshua is now calling Wilder a bitch, and the fact is, the main fact is, you didn't fight him yourself. So you're rejoicing off of somebody else's accomplishments. I mean, what if I just got on here and I was just not talking about my YouTube channel and what I've accomplished, and I was talking about the next YouTuber and all their accomplishments? That would be weird, wouldn't it? But we knew what it was. Anthony Joshua is just happy that Tyson Fury is the leading man in the heavyweight division. I think he likes the stylistic matchup, as I've said many times on my channel, with Tyson Fury a lot better. There's money in that fight as well, and he doesn't have to worry about Wilder's threatening power. So I think he's super happy that Tyson Fury won, because now it relieved the pressure for him to fight Wilder, because Wilder has to get his belt back. So I can't wait for Wilder Fury 3. If Wilder gets his belt back, then the pressure's back on for Joshua to fight him. So we'll see how that plays out. But it sounds crazy that Joshua keeps crawling out of his hole to say these random things and name call. But when Wilder went to Good Morning Great Britain and was calling you a coward and doing all these things to smoke you out, he said he would get in the ring and challenge you in front of cameras if you were to beat Joseph Parker. You put basically an order of protection. Order of protection from who? Who I need an order of protection from, nigga? You gotta do something, baby. And then Joshua wouldn't let him in the ring. We know the whole story. Turned down the 50 million, 50%, fought lesser guys that people didn't want to see you fight, Takam, and scheduled Pulev and Povetkin. You did all this stuff, but you didn't do this to Wilder. So it's funny that Joshua has so much to say about Wilder, the guy that he ducked. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Joshua calls Wilder a B.I.B.I. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, son.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.